Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our final episode of After Hours in the STEM Center with Rance Bobo. This evening, we have a very special guest, one of Kenyatta's very own. I would like to introduce to the stage Milene La Torre.
Hi everyone. I don't get to see anybody.
no, no, you don't get to see anyone. They get to see us. But it's
Okay.
kind of like on TV. They don't really see who's watching. So, how are you doing this evening?
I'm great. How are you? So glad to be here and to be able to tell everyone my journey when I went to Canada and how thankful I am for found that place that gave me all the support I needed to become a structural engineer.
All right, excellent. So, we're going to go ahead and get more into that. So, my question is, why did you choose Kenyatta? What was so special about Kenyatta College?
So, when I was going to college, okay, by the way, a little bit about me. I'm from Brazil. I immigrated here in 1997. I was 17 years old. I didn't know what I wanted to do for a while. I went to work. I worked as a nanny. I also cleaned houses. So it was difficult. I didn't speak English. Um, I knew that I had to somehow get back to college because I didn't finish college. I'm a high school dropout from Brazil. And I didn't get back to school until 2003. When I went to school in 2003, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't aware of the United States school system. I went to San Mateo College, community college, because I lived in San Mateo. So over there, I took a placement test. I'm sure some of you are aware of that. And I didn't study any math. So I was placed in math 811. That's the, that's arithmetic. I did a little bit of schooling in Brazil. So I probably like left the school in Brazil, like I would say mid high school. So I should have been placed higher, but I didn't study. So, I had to be placed in uh, um, Math 811, community college that's equivalent to really adding and subtracting and dividing. I'm not even kidding. So I spoke to a counselor. My English was limited, and I tried to explain to her, hey, I should be placed in a higher math. And she's like, well, you're not ready to cut corners. She was really abrupt. And so there I was. I went to Math 811. I went to ESL classes, and I stayed at community college at San Mateo Community College until 2007. So that was 5 years. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I took a bunch of classes. And so finally, after I spoke to a professor of mine, I was really good at math. I always did A's and B's in math. And professor of mine said, you should be an engineer. That was Professor Jay Lemon. Maybe some of you know him. He's quite famous in San Mateo because he wrote an algebra book. Anyway, so Professor J told me to become an engineer, and I it was difficult for me learning um, physics in engineering because English was not my first language, and I had the language barrier. But I really wanted to become an engineer, so somebody told me about Kenyatta, and when I went to Kenyatta, I met some of the tutor there and I talked to them about the issue of wanting to be an engineer, but it was difficult for me to excel at Summertail because of the language barrier, and they're a little bit more fast paced and less understanding of the difficulties that immigrants face, like such as language barrier. So I went to Canada, and I felt that I was welcome there, that they were going to give me the support I needed to succeed. And I felt that I was not there alone. There was a lot of people like me. And, I really felt that I had a chance to succeed in engineering back in 1998. No, sorry, 2008. That was already 2008. almost 10 years after coming to United States. And yeah, that was my journey. Why I chose Canada College, because I felt like over there I could succeed in engineering as an immigrant and a not non-native speaker.
Okay, okay. So, um, I'm assuming Kenyatta provided you some resources to help you overcome the language barrier. I'm pretty sure that you were part of the STEM Center, uh,
Yes.
and so was. Can you explain to us some of the campus resources that you utilized to help you succeed? Once you got to Kenyatta College.
Yeah, so soon after I started my college, my engineering classes at Kenyatta, I started to develop anxiety because the tests were really difficult for me. I didn't, like I said, I think my English was a little bit, you know, handicapped back then, if I can say it like that. And then they told me to go to DRC and get tested, and I was able to get accommodations and extra time in my test, and that helped me to overcome some of my anxiety. And I faced challenges, but I, with the Kenyatta support and their resources, I just tried harder and I sat through my tests. And for some of you that are listening to this and you guys are failing tests, I failed many of tests before. I failed classes, and I sat on it and I tried harder because I wasn't going to give up. I wanted to be an engineer. So, I sat on it, and now I sit here graduated with a master's doing what I love.
Right. I have a question too. So you were encouraged to be an engineer by one of your instructors, but prior to that, did you have the desire to be an engineer, or did you even know what an engineer was?
Yes, so yes, I did. Because being from Brazil, um, we have the Amazon there, I guess all of you know. So uh, I wanted to be an environmental engineer so I would be able to go back and help the Amazon. I was young and naive. I thought I could help the Amazon back then. Little did I know that it's all politics. But anyways, yeah, I have the vision of going back and helping my country. And but it didn't after, once I start going to engineering, I did a little bit of research. I found out the environment. I mean, I'm not discouraging any of you. You guys should do your own research. If there's any environmental engineer listening to this, but environmental engineer job is like, it's hard to get. It's not, there's like 10 civil engineering jobs. There's like one environmental job out there, if it makes sense. So I switched it to civil right after that, and I realized that being a civil, I could do so many things with my degree, and I was thrilled. I was so happy with the career opportunities you could have in civil. Um, when I went to college, some of my friends at Kenyatta, I remember vividly. I love them. I miss them dearly. I speak to them whenever I can. I reach out through Facebook. They used to tell me, "Oh, civil engineers are the dogs of the engineer." And then, like, nowadays that I'm in engineering, like, I'm so happy I graduated out of civil because you can do transportation, you can do water, you can do geotech, which is the study of soils, you can be a structural, like what I'm doing right now. It's just like, it's so many things you can do with civil, and it's easy to switch from one field to the other. You can be a project manager, a construction manager. It's just like the stuff you can do with this degree is amazing. And yeah, I understand that some people think we don't make a lot of money in the beginning of our careers, but like with 10 years of experience, you're gonna end up making that six figures that people want. It's just in the beginning it's a little bit harder. There's a lot to learn. You have to learn how to be an engineer out here in the field. Um, I feel like the gap between school and in the field, it's a little bit big, but it's manageable. I think it's harder to learn in school than it is to learn out here. It's just you learn on the go, you learn every day. My boss, the man I work for, the owner of ChemCon, he has 40 years of experience, and he always tells me I'm learning um, every day in my job. So I guess that's the name of the game. We're always going to be learning.
All right. Okay, cool. So, my next question for you, we have the STEM Center at Kenyatta. Did you spend a lot of time in the STEM Center?
Yeah, a lot of hours. Yeah, I got there in the morning and I left there at night. I remember Dr. E. I don't know if any of you know Dr. E. Dr. E. Back then he sat with us at the STEM Center. I wish he was still there to help you. He was awesome. He was amazing. But anyways, one day he was going, so I needed to talk to him about my homework, and I came in to his classroom in the morning. He usually taught in the morning and tutor us in the afternoon, and I went to take a nap in the car because I was so tired. It was the I always took a nap in my car, like after lunch, because I was so tired. I mean, learning all those equations, it's really draining. It was difficult for me, but he's like, where were you? I was like, I was taking a nap in the car, and he laughed. So I spent a lot of hours at Kenyatta. Yeah, I would go there in the morning, and thanks God, I had the financial aid downstairs. I forgot the name of the lady. She's really sweet to help me out with my financial needs, so I could spend my whole day in school. Um, I I am blessed beyond, you know, um, to have to have found Kenyatta and have found the financial aid, the DRC. They really helped me to get through this major.
Right. So you had mentioned, so you went from CSM to Kenyatta, and like when you compare the two campuses, I mean, CSM it's a pretty big campus compared to Kenyatta.
Right.
And then so when you transferred, because you went to San Jose State, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So when you transferred from Kenyatta to San Jose State,
Mm-hmm.
that transition for you?
It was easy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not much different. It's very easy. And I chose that way. So when I was in school, and that's one trick I can tell you guys. Sometimes if you want to go to Berkeley, if you want to go to Stanford, have that GPA, right? I don't have the 4.0. So you can sit back in some classes. That's what some people did that. Kind of cheating, but I guess it's like, I gotta tell you guys this, like you can sit back in some Spanish classes, some of you speak Spanish, and get your GPA up there and really transfer to the school you wanted to. And also, I know Stanford, some of my friends went to Stanford, they really buy your, like, the story of your life. Some of you have had some challenges to overcome. They do look at that. You just need to write letters, reach out, go talk to people, really fight for what you want. Some of you are the first member of your family to go to college. That's extremely important. They take that into a lot of consideration when they look your application. Talk to your counselor, mention to them what are ways you can, make it happen for you to go to Berkeley, Stanford, or any college you want to go to. Don't give up. I chose to go to San Jose State because I heard was a good college and it was very similar to the settings of community college. So I wanted, I was already super overwhelmed with the courses I was taking. I was taking 4 or 5 math engineering courses every semester. I wanted to graduate. All I was doing was studying. So it was very difficult for me I didn't want to go to Stanford and face like another level of challenge. And I thought all those students are A students. They come from prestigious school. I'm just gonna be there lost, and they're gonna be mean to me, and I'm gonna go to San Jose State.
Okay. So, I mean, essentially, I mean, you found a campus where you could succeed, where you could strive, where you felt comfortable with your education. You know,
Yeah, I wanted a college that would give me the same settings of Kenyatta, and I felt San Jose State and SF states are at that level. Like, you can reach out to tutors. It's easy to get support. You can, the San Jose State DRC is AEC.
Hmm.
So it stands for, I have to Google. Well, I have to Google, but um, they also have the same settings at Kenyatta. You can have extra time in your tests. You can reach out to tutoring. Professors will be not so helpful, but they will be helpful. You can go to their office and spend time with them and things like that. And, ask questions. And if you fail tests, it's okay. They'll give you a chance to make it up. It's just like, oh, that's one thing in engineering. For some of you, I don't know, I can see you, I don't know your stories. I'm just saying in general, some of you are struggling with the tests. Don't give up, try harder. They'll give you a second chance. Like, I heard that, like, I never gave up, but that was because I'm very resilient. Like, as an immigrant, I had to build that resiliency to survive in another country that I didn't speak the language. So I never give up. But later on in engineering, I learned that some of these tests are just to test your metal, just to make sure you're going to stick to it. And that's like one thing you develop in the industry. Like, you do something wrong, you fail, you fall, you get back up. And that's something that's something, if you develop that backbone, you'll have it for the rest of your life, and it's going to help you in all areas of your life. That's just the way it is. You fall, you just get back up. Can't do anything else but that.
Right. Actually, I appreciate you brought out that point. I was reading, something about, they were talking about, generations and how students succeed and how students learn. This is like, you know, they're finding that a lot of students don't have resilience. It's just like, oh, this is too hard. Let me do something else. So, the resilience it's very necessary, very important, especially if you are, you know, in the STEM field. You will need a lot of resilience. So, you mentioned how you were taking a lot of classes, like you taking 5 classes, mixture of, engineering, math, some science. So, did you ever take advantage or participate in any internships?
No, so that's one of the things that I wish I did. So like I was telling you, I when I went to college, I was really overwhelmed. So I really took my breaks seriously, if you guys know what I mean. And I decided to, go home, go back to my country, sleep a lot, leave a little, because I wasn't leaving during my semesters. Um, so I didn't really look for internships in the beginning. And at San Jose State, like in the end of my undergrad degree, yes, I did some construction management. I worked for Kitcho Construction as a project manager assistant. And then I also worked for I think it was Lathrop, that did some big construction in campus. So I worked for them. But I didn't do any internship while I was at Kenyatta. And for some of you that is taking AutoCAD, you guys can try internship in structural engineering AutoCAD. They use a lot of help. They can use your help in the summer. And we'll get you introduced to how we draw these plans, these blueprints, right? That are very important in construction because everybody follows those blueprints. You as an engineer has the job to tell the contractor what he should do. Um, so you need to learn how to draw those blueprints, how to read those blueprints, and how to uh, tell contractors how to read them. So it's really important if you want to, become a instructor. Even a transportation engineer, I guess geotech don't use much of AutoCAD because they have other softwares and they only study soil. But any other field that I can think of, you're gonna use AutoCAD. I think there are some other softwares that are more sophisticated, such as Revit. They build a 3D model, but I think Revit, it's not a lot of us are using Revit. I really like the Revit, but I still use AutoCAD in my office because my boss doesn't like Revit. So I think there's a lot of old engineers that are not really like wanted to switch to something more sophisticated, if I can say it like that.
Okay, okay, awesome. So, you make this transition from Kenyatta to San Jose State. You you enjoyed your breaks, and I think that's really important too. That when you have the time off, that you take it. Because a lot of thing is, we live in this generation, or we have this culture here, where especially here in the U.S., it's just like just go 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 go, and people tend to burn out, which
Yeah.
leads to people thinking that things are too hard and they want to, change majors,
Yes.
change careers because they don't know when to just say, you know what, let me stop, take a breather, and then
Right.
get back on it. So I'm glad that you brought that out. Um, so also, I'd like to encourage anyone in the audience, if you have any questions, type in your questions. We will answer them. Um, so with what you're currently doing now, well, let me ask you this other question. I'll get to that. So, being a woman, um, and also being, an international student, did you face any type of challenges, or did you suffer from imposter syndrome?
Um, yes, every day. Uh, Female in engineering, we face challenges every day. It's like they don't believe us. They see us as a secretary. Have to step your foot down and tell them like you know what you're doing. You understand. It's just like unfortunately it's a male dominated field and they won't take you in. Usually like you know they tell you like my manager here in my office, him and I've been here for 6 years, but him and I, um we used to get into it when I was just starting. So when I came to work for ChemCon, just a little bit of my background, I wanted to be a structural engineer, and it's really difficult to get that position out of college because people really want you to have a master's, and I only had an undergrad degree. So I told my boss that I would work for free with my own laptop and just let me come in and learn. And I did it. I did it for a few months. But anyways, my manager, and we're okay now. We're cool, I guess. He would come and tell me the sentence, "Are you thinking again?" I wanted to kill him. It's like, "Are you thinking again?" It's like, you're not supposed to think here. We don't want you to think. Uh, well, but hopefully it won't happen to you. But I had to be resilient one more time, and you know, set my foot down and keep doing my job until I get to where I'm at. Like today, I get to do my own projects and to be very independent in my work and think all the time. Yes, and now I can think.
Wow, that is interesting. Wow.
It- it's okay. And so like, do not take me wrong. It was very early on. He didn't even know me. It was just, I mean, I we're cool now. And he's my manager still, but like he didn't know anything about me. So it's not like I don't want you guys to think, oh, she was dumb. No, I wasn't dumb. I was just not allowed to process my thinking and learn. Oh, this is how we do this, and discovering structural engineering, like how the formulas in the book are applied to the real world. It's just like it required me some time of like thinking, and I wasn't allowed to do that in the beginning, but now today nowadays I can. I am allowed.
All right. So then, actually, now let me segue into something. So, you know, with the thinking process, um, so how much of what you're doing, how much of what, excuse me, let me rephrase that question. How much of what you learned in school are you applying in your position or in your job?
Okay, so I went through all the things I do in the office today, and Rance was there. He saw me looking for. I looked for like the simplest things I can show you. I guess you guys taking statics. You guys haven't took some of the more advanced courses, but one of the things I can show you, and I'm going to try to share my screen right now. In statics, when you try to find those moments, right? And you know, shear, you do that all the time. So let me see. Can you guys see that? So can you see it, Rance?
Yes.
Okay. So when you take that moment, you know, like you take moments all the time in statics and you do shear all the time. So nowadays, what I get to do with that moment, I get to compare. So this is a little bit more advanced. So you're gonna learn this in college, in probably San Jose State. You know, but this right here, you take the section modulus. Let me see, my
Can
computer's
you
not.
blow that up a little bit? Make it a little larger at the bottom of the spreadsheet.
Yeah, can you guys see it? Can you see it better now? Just tell me whenever it's good.
Okay, go back.
Just a second. For some odd reason, my computer is not responding.
Okay.
And I think that's because I have AutoCAD's open. Hold on a second. Let me turn off my AutoCAD. Sometimes it gets too heavy. Okay, close that. Okay, got it.
There we go.
I don't know if you guys have gotten to the section modulus and the moment of inertia of materials. Um, I was trying to recap my statics here, but anyways, this right here are like the material properties. This has to do with the cross section. So if it's a rectangle or a circle, this number here will be calculated based on the type of shape you're looking for. I think this I is empirical. You take it from a table. It's also like a material property. This E here. Oh, sorry, no, the I is 112 times. Okay, so I've also, so these two right here, there are two properties of the shape. Sorry, guys. And then this one right here is empirical, like you get from each material. Like steel has one. It's called the modules of elasticity, E. I think you should be learning that in mechanics of materials, or for you will be, yeah, mechanical materials. I don't remember the class that teaches that at Kenyatta, but you should be seeing that pretty soon if you have not yet. So we take these numbers and we calculate it by some other factors that you will learn in college. Beam width, beam density, we use that to calculate it down here. And you do the moment equations, which is right here, and you compare that against the calculation of all these factors together here to the one allowed and to the one you have. So over here is your load. So all those like uniform load, point load. So that's going to become in the future when you are in the field, the dead load and the live load of your floors of whatever you're calculating. So if you're calculating your roof, is a different live load and net load. So live load is just something that's not going to sit in there for a long time. But if you have snow, like snow is kind of considered like a live load. That load is going to be the weight of the roof. You know, if you're calculating a beam that's going to support a floor, your dead load is going to be like the weight of the structure on top, and then your live load is going to be how many people is going to be in it, office, chairs and things like that, things that are movable. There's a lot of definition of that, but the most important thing that I wanted to show you guys is the moment. See, I calculate the moment, and this formula here is the ml squared over a. If you have not seen yet, you will see that in like San Jose State or whatever college you choose to go. It's a more of the advanced form of statics, and it's statics and mechanical materials. So you study mechanical materials and statics together, because mechanical materials is going to show you like what are that material good for, and statics will tell you how to calculate the, you know, the loads on that. on that beam or that joist, and then you compare against. And so if I get an okay here, it means like my beam's good, and I can tell the contractor go ahead and use that beam. Same thing with my shear of that. So shear, we're a little bit more particular about shear here of this beam. We do calculate shear of the live load, shear of the dead load, and we compare it to what is good for, and we're good here. So I guess, let me see here what happened. So, okay, so this 1862 is calculated on top right here. See, we get the properties of the corner here. This properties. Um, so I guess here we have area times FE. This FE you learn in school. This is a structural engineering factor that we use all the time, but I just wanted to show you guys, see how I'm using shear every day at my job. And here's the deflection, how much my beam is allowed to deflect. So I look at the code. So in structural engineer, we use codes. They're IBC, CRC. So IBC is the International Building Code, and then CRC is the California Building Code, which is a version of the IBC. So those codes will tell you what you can and what you cannot do and use in certain types of scenarios. And this deflection is one of them. You can find it there. There's always California. There's other codes too, so ASCE, which we do have to, as a structural engineer, calculate the structure and make sure it can withstand earthquakes. To the earthquake level that we have measured so far. So my girlfriend the other day, she asked me like, so what is the most, what a structure will like hold the most in an earthquake? So the truth of the matter of this is that a structure will only hold the amount of earthquake we've had because earthquakes are fairly new phenomenon. I think in '89 on Loma Prieta, they realized that earthquake can kill and created a lot of damages. So they started to pay more attention to that. So since not too long ago, we started to measure earthquakes and build structures that will withstand that earthquake level. So if somebody tells you, oh, this building can withstand earthquake magnitude 10, have we ever had in California an earthquake magnitude 10? No, we haven't, so we don't know that. It's all theory. And I guess you guys all learn theory in college, like, it can't be proven until we have facts. So, yeah.
Wow, that's something new. I did not know that. I thought that our buildings were gonna survive, theoretically, earthquake magnitude 10, but I did
It's
not.
like we don't know yet. It all depends. It depends on the epicenter where it happens, it depends and what kind of material, because earthquake travels different in different soils. In loose sand, it go faster. It has more magnitude, more strength. In rock, that's why they say best soil to build is a rock, because rock, the particles are so tight together that the waves don't travel that fast, or don't even travel, to be honest with you. So rocks don't feel earthquakes like sandy soil will, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Um, yeah, I guess.
So, my question, okay, so with all these equations and formulas, you guys do this for every beam that goes into a structure?
Pretty much. So everything's a beam in the structure. The only thing that changes is the material. So for steel is a different type of material. And I could show you guys a steel Excel sheet, but I don't think you guys have learned steel, so it will make even less sense than this one make. But like for steel, so they still have another property, so we do other calculations, but pretty much everything is treated like a beam in construction. So you have to find out the shear, the bending, and the deflection. The roof joist, ceiling joist, floor joists, and then You have your girders, which are beams too, that carry your, girders are just big, big beams, they carry the majority of load, usually in floors. Uh, we have for the roof, you have the ridge beam, which carry the load for the rafters. Uh, yeah, and then, okay, so okay, one thing. In the walls, they get treated like as columns. So the equations are a little bit different, and you get to learn that later on too. Sorry, so not everything is treated like beams. Some of them are treated like columns. I'm sorry, but a lot of things are treated like beams. Yeah, yeah. I guess that's that.
So, um, my question is, so before, let's say, a structure is going up, prior
Mm-hmm.
to the actual construction of a structure, um, how long in advance do you guys do these calculations? I mean, let's say, for example, I'll just say it takes a year for a
Mm-hmm.
structure to be constructed, whatever that might be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so prior to that year, how much planning or how much of this type of work do you do before you actually start the construction?
Okay, so the first thing happens in the construction is like they have to do the architecturals, and that's assuming that the building is new. You don't have a building there. So first they do the structurals, which tells the city, because the city needs to issue a permit for a new building. City, it's a word. We talk to the city all the time. Um, so we do the architecturals. We show plumbing, which is water, going to the bathrooms, to the faucets. We show electricals, how the wire is going to be done, and all of those are plans. I have those plans, but I didn't pull them out. But like, I guess I can pull them up. Do we have time?
Yeah, we have time. We have
Okay,
until 6.
okay, let me just pull something here that I'm doing real quick.
So how many projects does your industry, your company, work on typically at one time?
Uh, there's three engineers. We always busy, and two architects. Um, I guess each one of us has a project, and it's like if I finish this one, I have another one. It's just like nonstop. It's very busy. It's a very busy industry. It's an amazing industry. Um, going to be a lot of openings in the future.
Okay, and are you guys so do you guys work in transportation or
No, we only do buildings. You know,
okay.
my boss, he can do hospitals and schools, but we don't do hospital. I've never done a hospital and school. Can you guys see my?
No, that document has not been shared yet.
Okay, just a second.
And the buildings you guys work on are do you guys have contracts like with public entities like the city or county, or are you guys just strictly private?
We do contract. We can do public contracts, but we mostly work on the private level. Like okay, you share. So okay, can you guys see this?
No, no, not yet. We're still looking at the spreadsheet.
Okay, let me see. All right, I'm gonna share it again. Can you guys see it now?
There we go.
Okay, so let me pull it up. So this is an electrical plan. So these are lights, and then these are switches. It'll This is in the wrong place, in the middle of nowhere. Go back here. Um, this is just two. So this is the four below. This is the four on top. So these are lights. You know, you see this. These are switches too. And then we do mechanicals too. This is a project I'm working on this week. Mechanicals, this is an HVAC that goes on the roof, right? HVAC goes on the roof. So just the plan, the layout of the plans and where the HVAC is in relationship to the building. So I have to give a lot of information to the city right here and tell the city, you know, what code am I using? Remember codes, California Building Code, CBC 2019. I have to tell them I'm using this code so they can follow up with the code and see that I'm, you know, really using the guidelines in the code, which is, and then I gotta tell them right here the size of the building, you know, and gotta show them the location map, in the relationship to the city. They want to see all these things in general notes, and then I move on and I do my roof plan. This is a roof plan with my parking lots, and then this is you know, some of the floor plans that you have to build. This is all AutoCAD. So if you can get your hands on this early on, you're gonna be, you know, on a fast track for structural engineering when you graduate, because this is really important. You have to know this. But this is architecturals. So as an engineer, you get to do some architecturals, but you do structural engineer, we do more structurals. I am doing some architecturals because like Rance mentioned, I want to be my own boss and have my own engineering firm. So I'm getting my hands on everything I can do in the office. And my boss said, you know, I need some architectures done. And I said, okay, I'll do it. Not a problem. You know, so like I don't have a problem of getting tasks that I'm not trained on. This is a little bit of a challenge for me. I mean, after 6 years of engineering, I look back and I'm doing architecture. I should have been doing architecture like early on in my career, because this is really like just laying out the building, putting the mechanicals and the architecture like I showed you guys. And then after that, like going back to Rand's questions, sorry to to go on a tangent a little bit. Um, that's my ADD kicking in. Uh, anyway, so after the architectures and then you do the structures. I don't have the structures of this one done yet, but let me get you guys some structures here of something else. Like I should have something easy here. I haven't. So yeah, I'm gonna.
So we have a question. While you're pulling that up, maybe you can. So the question is, uh, what does a hiring hierarchy look like for structural engineers, entry, mid-level to senior?
Okay,
Your
so
room for
for
growth.
right, so for your entry level, like you know, perfectly would be like out of like undergrad if you can get that, and then you'll get your hands on AutoCAD a lot for I would say a year and a half to 2 years. Do some structurals, do some architecturals. They'll have you drafting a lot, but then don't let them leave you at drafting. They should be teaching you already how to lay out the buildings and attach them together, if I can say it like that. um, please don't let, because you know in the industry it's so easy to be taken advantage and people leave you on AutoCAD for like, you know, years and years. You don't want that. You were not trained to be an AutoCAD person. You're trained to be an engineer. You know those equations, you want to use them, you want to learn them, be assertive. You know, if they're not going to teach you, then move on, go to the next one that will teach you. Don't give up. um, and then once you know you do learn how to put that building together by doing a little bit, not much but enough, of AutoCAD, you're going to be attaching a lot of buildings together, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit how it looks like. You should be able to you should be able to start doing projects on your own and really calculating those beams, you know, those deflections, those moments, those shears, and making sure the beam you chose, the material you chose can withstand that demand that you put in on the beam, and laying out them together in the field. And then from then on, you're just going to be doing projects, and getting challenged every day, because you go from a bit like, so at least in civil and structural, because civil and structural, they really go together. You're gonna be doing like, deep foundations. I've done drill piers, which is like, 20-foot deep foundations, 2-level houses, 2-story houses, 1-story houses. This project I just showed you guys, a commercial project, I'm gonna be doing that too. um it's just from then on, it's just as the more you learn, the more valuable you're going to become in the industry, and the more money you're going to be able to make. It's not really like my boss has 40 years of experience. He gets to call the shots here all the time, because we know that he has enough experience to really make a decision on anything that we need to do, because in engineering you get to make a lot of decisions on what you're going to do. Like, you're going to lay out this beam this way so the joists go that way. And if the contractor challenges you, you have to be able to tell him why you want it that way. And he has to do what you're telling him, because you are the engineer of record. So you're the boss there, really. They don't like that, but we are.
Right.
I
Um,
did I answer his question?
y- yes. Yeah. So in other words, it seems like you have to advocate in order to climb the ladder.
Right. You have to be a little bit assertive. It's, I mean, it depends on people experience. I mean, I guess my experience hasn't been, but I guess it's rough. And structural engineer is a rough career. It's very rewarding. Don't take me bad, but it's a career where it's going to demand a lot, because you pretty much you're independent. Like, like I said, in the projects, I get to choose a lot of the things. So some people will like to keep you down and doing what they want for a long time. And you want to reach that level of independence where you get your own project and you do things like, that's the main goal of a structural engineer, is really get one project and finish from like the beginning to the end, and not really be told what to do, how to lay the joist, and how it's just like, we don't like that.
So typically, how long does it take from someone to come in from entry level to getting their own project?
Uh, it depends what level you come in. So if you have a master's, it's going to be a little bit faster. Um, if you have a bachelor's and you're starting at the AutoCAD level, probably 2 years is going to make up for the master's level. It depends on the company and what you get hired for, what kind of management you have. If those people have good intentions in making you a good engineer, or if those people only wants you to be an input output kind of worker in the firm. Um, it's that, I mean, I'm only sharing my experience. It doesn't have to be people's reality, but I learned that, out here, when you get out here, a lot of people will like to keep you down and not teach you and not get you to be a good engineer, to be like somebody, uh, you know, like I guess, I don't know. It's just, but it's going to be from firm to firm. And what I'm trying to tell you is that you have to be resilient, like you are being in school, and keep forcing your way through and keep pushing. Or maybe, maybe you're lucky enough to find a good firm. They're going to be like, oh, you're going to be the great engineer, and I'm going to show you how everything gets done. A lot of the things you have to learn for yourself out here. And, but it's a rewarding journey. I like challenges. So if you challenge me, just, the way I fight back is showing that I can succeed. So I guess I have the DNA for this kind of world.
Okay. Um,
Sorry, guys. I don't want to be a pessimist. It's a wonderful career. I mean, it's beautiful. You get to walk in that job site and be respected, and make that six-figure salary. Is like all my friends that graduated in engineering love it. I talk to them and they're like, yeah, I'm like, we get to be the leaders. There's a lot of leadership roles in engineering. Most of them are leadership. So that's why, Kenyatta keeps pushing you guys to be in leadership roles, to learn how to be a leader. It's just it's what we do out here. Like I said, the end goal is to be independent, is to be calling the shots on those plans, and building the concept designing office, and you are the man, you are the go-to man when somebody has a question.
Right. Um,
So I'm pulling up some structures here so I can show you guys how it looks like. But go ahead, I'm listening. Please ask questions.
okay, so let me reformulate. So right now, with your, you run you run the show for your current project, because it seems like you're doing the architect work as well as the engineering work.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, the engineering work will start after the architectural work, which should start in the next couple of days. I'm almost done with the architecture. And the reason why I took the architectural work is because I do want to learn everything this firm has to teach me. Because he's a small engineering firm, is exactly the same type of business that I want to be in the future. So one thing about this is like choose. So if you want to be your own boss, be independent, run your own engineering firm, you're gonna have to learn from someone. You're not gonna be able to get out of school and go do that. You're gonna have to sit back, relax, and have a lot of time and learn a lot before at least 5 years before you can get to call the shots. I mean, if you're really smart, some people just get it out of thin air, and I hated them when I wasn't going to school with them. Like, if you're really smart, you can do it in maybe 3 years. I don't know, but it's a lot of things to learn. I would doubt it. You need at least 5 years.
Okay. All right. 5 years. And so with this current project that you're working on, um, how long do you think before the structure will be finished?
The structure should be it's fairly simple. I just have to size some joists so we're building a mezzanine inside of a milk factory in San Leandro. So I need to size the joists and reinforce some walls, put some posts in there to make sure it can withstand the load of the mezzanine, the dead and live load of the mezzanine, like I taught you guys.
Okay.
Like I showed you guys, not taught, because I'm far from I just showed you guys. Okay. Any other questions?
So, yes. So, what piece of advice would you share with our students that you wish someone would have shared with you?
Uh, you know, I really in school, I wish somebody had shown me what I'm showing you guys right now. Because and then I could relate and really understand the full scope of structural engineering because when I went in structural engineer, I really wanted to be a structural engineer because I wanted to build homes. So I put my heart in building homes, getting out of undergrad. But nobody ever told me all the things I'm telling you right now. And although I love it, there's some things that I wish I knew going in. Just a second. But I wouldn't change my career for any other career. There's water. Water is it's a good career as well. You can go work for the city with the water resources engineering out of San Jose State. They have the water resource engineer in San Jose State are the best professors. I really love them. I took some water resources classes, and it's just like I really like working with the water resources professor. I I think for structural engineering, I would really choose San Jose State, I mean, San Francisco State University. They do tend to be more supportive than San Jose State. Unfortunately, San Jose State's not a good state, and it's not a good school for instructor, and that's just how I feel. It might not be true for some of you, but I feel like go visit the school, talk to the counselors, see if you can talk to the professors, have a feeling what you're getting to before you go full blown, because really it makes a difference. I feel like, so I took classes at San Francisco State after I graduated. I took steel. That's when I graduated out of San Jose State. I didn't take steel over there. So I took steel, and it was just like a continuation of learning. You're gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to keep sometimes take a class here and there to learn more stuff for your field. I hope I'm not scaring you guys. It's really rewarding. It is. I mean, you pay the price to be the boss, right? Because when you are a structural engineer, you really bossing a lot of people around. So you have to have your knowledge. You can't go out there not knowing what you're doing. So it's rewarding. It's a career. It's cool. Like, like I said, I usually say my undergrad career, my grad career, and my career. It's like everything becomes like a lifelong learning, but it's really rewarding. It is. It's amazing, to be able to walk in a job site and have all those people looking up to you and, and trying to understand what you're saying. And it's, yeah, it's very rewarding.
All right. So do we have any questions from the audience before we close? Want to type in any questions? Okay. Well, this looks like we don't have any questions. So Milene, we really do appreciate you taking out time from your evening to join us and come back to Kenyatta and share with us your academic experience and also, what you're currently doing um, after your academic journey. And we do understand that you are, uh, on course to start your own construction company. And
The
so,
engineering company, I don't want to work with, I don't want to be a
sorry,
contractor. It's a lot of liability out there for contractors.
okay,
As an
engineering.
engine, yeah, yeah. And contractors do take on a lot of liability. So as just one little thing about, so as a structural engineer, you can definitely own your construction company, and there's a lot of money. There's more money in construction than in engineering. Um, you do get paid a lot for each project. So pretty much like if I'm doing my own little project for a house, let's say I would charge anywhere between, 15 to $30,000 for the design fee, and you get a lot more for the construction fee. But it's like more liability. You have to be in charge of the workers. Like if somebody gets hurt, you might get sued. You have to carry very expensive bonds and insurance, and it's a little bit more complicated. Just a little bit more of like, engineering for you guys.
Okay. All right. So your own engineering firm.
Yeah.
And so we hope the best for you in your endeavors. And again,
Thank you.
do appreciate you coming out and speaking with our students and sharing your experience and insight on um, how, they should go out there and tackle obstacles. And, I appreciate the point that you brought out in resilience, which is very important. You know,
Yeah.
um,
One last thing. I really don't want to scare you guys from pursuing this field. Please don't. It's like I said, it's something you're going to do every day along 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Even my boss has 40 years of experience. So it's like a lifelong learning career. That's all I wanted to express. If any of you are trying to come into structure, that's what you should expect.
yeah. Well, if you go into structural engineering, I guess it's for life.
It is. And the more experience you have, the more valuable it becomes. So, you know, um, that's a good thing. So if you're 60 years old, then you have 40 years under your belt of engineering, you're gonna be worth gold, and people pay you a lot of money for solving the problems around, you know, your city, your neighborhood, even your state. The sky is the limit. Everybody needs a civil engineer. Everybody needs a structural engineer. So it's a really good career.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you being here this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for the opportunity to talk. Bye-bye.